everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leanna. I don't know if you recall, but last year I actually tried to do a project Use It Up. I say try. I wasn't entirely successful. I haven't done any updates, so I thought I would update you on my progress now since it's basically been a full year. And I don't have all of the products in front of me because I have finished some of them along the way, and they have been in previous empties videos, which I can link down below. And of course, I'm going to link the project Use It Up video. But yeah, I thought we could go through some of the products and how much progress I made. Some of it was very little, and some of it was pretty good. So I'm going to go in order of the products listed in that description box, starting with the No Cosmetics No Dark Shadows Concealer. I have used this up. That was in one of my empties videos. This was a corrective concealer, so a color correcting concealer for under eye use. And it was one of those ones that you kind of click up and it has a peachy tone to it. And I found that it had kind of a weird smell, like kind of a perfumed smell, so I wasn't a huge fan of that. I'm also not a huge fan of No Cosmetics online marketing presence. I find that they're very pushy and kind of have that sort of you need to buy more makeup and you need to buy it now mentality, which is kind of annoying. And so I'm just kind of, I wasn't that impressed with the concealer and just not entirely impressed with the brand at this point, so I have no future plans to buy anything from them. Also from No Cosmetics was the No Bare Brows. It was a 2-in-1 brow pencil, so it had the color on one end, a universal color, which I don't believe in, because it was a sort of cool toned brown. And that's not going to work for everybody. If you have really blonde hair, that's not going to work for you. If you have red hair, it's not going to work for you. And then it had a clear wax pencil on the other side. And so they kind of meet in the middle. At a certain point, you just can't sharpen either end anymore. And that pencil I used up. Again, it was in a previous empties video. It was okay. Again, not super impressed with it. I found that it was incredibly waxy. It just, even the pencil side, the color side, just pinned my hairs straight down to my face, which I just wasn't a fan of. And the color was okay. It was pretty good for me. Again, wouldn't be good for other people, so I don't think that they should be marketing a universal color. They should have other colors. The Tarte Brighter Days Highlighting Moisturizer I used up, and I did quite like that. It is meant to be used as an all-over face moisturizer, and it has a sort of opalescent sheen to it. Now, I did sometimes use it all over the face, but the way I tended to use it the most was just to put a little bit on my fingers and tap it over the high points of my cheekbones, and I thought that it looked really pretty. It had just the slightest bit of a pink tone to it, which is why, say if my face was looking a little pink that day, I wouldn't want to put it all over my face. It would kind of accentuate that redness. And it's as a moisturizer, I'm not sure if it did like that much. I would still put on my regular moisturizer ahead of time. But I just really liked the finish that it had. And I haven't been able to duplicate that with another product. So if you have something in mind that's similar to that, let me know. Preferably at a drugstore price, that would be great. The E.l.f. Highlighting Blush in Candid Coral. I have hit significant pan on this. And it every time I use it, I hit more pan on it. So that's cool. The major issue I have with this blush is that it takes a lot of effort to dig in there really hard with the brush and get it on your face. And it also just develops these weird little bumps on top. So I can tell that I'm really low on product on this. Like, this is a very thin layer of product. And also the issue now being that there's such a small layer there, is that every time I do use it, and because I have to go in so hard with the brush, I create these little chunks of product that kind of fly up into the air. And this would have been a huge product at our old house because we had cream colored carpeting. Now we're on hardwood floors. It's not that much of an issue. But still, it's kind of annoying, and I don't like it enough to repress it, so I'm probably just going to use it for as long as it's good and then throw it out. The Makeup Forever Ultra HT Micro Finishing Loose Powder, this was a mini size. It would have been around this size. I finished that. It was a really nice setting powder. It is an HD powder, meaning that it's white in appearance. On my skin tone, I didn't notice that it left any sort of white cast, even in photography. And it's super finely milled, so it just left a really nice appearance on the face. It didn't cake up, it didn't leave me feeling dry or looking dry, and so it was really nice powder. And going on from there, I also had this Kat Von D Locket Loose Setting Powder. This isn't one of her tinted powders. This is just the regular translucent powder. Now, it says it's translucent, however, I do find that it does have somewhat of a yellow tone to it on my skin. So for that reason, I found it kind of hard to use under my eyes. I was mainly using it to set around the face, and then I didn't really notice any color, but directly under my eyes, I definitely noticed that it could tend to leave me looking a little yellow. Not the look I'm going for. And it's a very thick powder. I don't even know how to describe it. I think because it does have cornstarch in it, it just feels kind of clumpy. It's smooth when you feel it between your fingers, but I noticed that it did have a tendency to clump up in my fine lines under my eyes. So it's not the same consistency as something super fine like an HD powder, which doesn't bunch up under my eyes. It just leaves everything really smooth. This creates creasing and texture, so plus she's just a terrible person, so not considering anything from her. The Tarte blush, this was the mini size from the Sephora 2017 birthday gift. It was called, what was it called? Party. Now, I did hit huge pan on it, and then it was one of those blushes that kept falling apart, much like the e.l.f. one is now. So I did repress it and made even more progress there, and after a while it started breaking up again, and I realized, you know, it's just not worth it, especially because I have actually found a really good replacement. This is the Pure Annada blush. This is their Pressed Mineral Cheek Color in Sweet Pea. This looks identical on me. Something that's also very similar is the NYX HD blush in Amber. It may be slightly more warm toned, but not by much. And so now what I'm using this Tarte Compact for is actually to house this little highlighter mini from Emme Cosmetics. It's the exact same size, so I figured I would just glue the pan in there and use the compact. Next, I have the NYX Individualized Pink Nudes palette. I did not make very much progress on this. I did use up more of the cream eye base. The base itself is darker than my skin tone, so once I realized, you know, concealer works just as well, I don't need to be using this, I kind of stopped using it. And this was my favorite shade in the palette up here, this matte shade, but it kept hitting hard pan. You could probably see there's a texture difference in the center there. So the color becomes really hard to get off with a finger or with a brush. And yeah, you can find ways to scrape that off there, but every time you use it now, it just goes back to this. Not a fan really of the other two products, cream products there. These two middle shades are basically the exact same. And the lower shade, it really isn't very good, so I really have no reason to keep this anymore. And the other thing too, because this matte shade was basically my favorite, I have something similar now, so that's another reason why this palette has become obsolete. I had two e.l.f. long-lasting lustrous eyeshadows in Soiree and Confetti. Soiree was sort of a mauve shade and Confetti was a white shade. And these were sort of cream putty eyeshadows, a little bit similar to the Colourpop eyeshadows. And they both, I made a little bit of progress primarily on Soiree, but they both were just changing too much in texture. They were drying out quite a bit, and I had to throw both of them out. Confetti had always been really, really flaky and not really something I enjoyed wearing. It created too much texture on my eyelids. Soiree was really pretty and much smoother, but I just couldn't make a lot of progress on it because it was drying out too quickly. The biggest thing that I was trying to pan was the Tartelette in Bloom palette. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to hit pan on every shade, but I was trying to make progress on the shades I was using the most, and I actually only hit pan on one. This white shade up here is called Charmer, and it was what I was using to set my eyeshadow most of the time. Nowadays, I just get too lazy. I end up using whatever powder I'm using, so that's why I haven't made very much progress. And the thing is, a lot of times I'm not wearing neutrals. When I do wear neutrals, I'm using this, but I just don't wear as many neutrals as I used to, so I didn't make too much progress. I think these two shades here, Flower Child and Funny Girl, are the two other shades I made the most progress on. I can see sort of like fingertip chunks taken out of both, but still nowhere near close to hitting pan on either of them. And the other thing too that I've started to notice with this palette, because this was a palette that kind of reintroduced me to makeup, I thought that this was really good quality. And as I've gotten more makeup into my collection since this purchase, I've realized that it's not as good quality as a lot of other eyeshadows. It's good quality, but it's not great quality. A lot of the darker shades especially don't blend very well. So I kind of I'm not super enthusiastic about this palette the way I used to be. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. Yeah, I'm not sure at this point if I'm going to keep it or not. I feel like I should keep it because I do need neutrals in my collection. But I also know that I'm probably not going to use it all that often. The Tarte Creamy Matte Lip Paint, that was also in the birthday gift set from Sephora. I did use that up. That was in one of the empties videos. I pulled out the stopper and finished it up and everything, but that was a color I enjoyed, but not a formula I enjoyed. It was one of those, it's a liquid lipstick, and it's one of those that you put it on and it takes at least 2 hours to fully dry down, yet it feels like it's drying your lips out every second that you're wearing it. Whereas I can wear liquid lipsticks that take 2 seconds to dry down, and they feel nowhere near as drying as that. So yeah, not a fan of that, not at all. The Sephora Ultra Shine Lip Gel in Pinup Pink. I did make quite a bit of progress on this. I have about this much left that I can see in the light. And I'm going to keep this. It's a really nice gloss, and I can definitely finish it up. There's nothing wrong with it at this point. It's still good. The NYC Showtime Lip Balm in Modern Coral. Again, I did use some of this up. I used it more in the summertime. Maybe used another third of it. and it's still a good lipstick. It says it's a lip balm. It's not very moisturizing. That's the only thing I don't like about it, but it's a really pretty color. And again, I'll probably wear more in the summertime. And lastly, the Mary Kay Gel Matte Lip Color. Now, this was given to me as part of a subscription. I did not buy it. It is an MLM product, and I am well aware of that. I ended up giving this to my mom, actually. She really liked the color, and I noticed that I had other mauve lipsticks in my collection that I was wearing more than that one, and which were very similar. So yeah, I just handed it off to her. So that's it. I do feel like I made some good progress. Other things I didn't make very good progress at all. But yeah, I've basically learned I'm not a project panner, and also I don't wear a lot of neutrals. I feel like I did really good progress on the blush products in particular. I was surprised by that, but I don't own a lot of blush, so I feel like I was basically alternating between those blushes the whole year last year. So that's probably why that happened. So let me know, are you working on a project panner or project use it up right now, and what products are you trying to use up? I would like to know. I don't have any plans at this point to stick to a strict project use it up. I am trying to use up some products, but only because I can see that I'm getting low on them and it'll be very easy for me to finish them up. Really, that's about it for this video. So I guess I will see you in the next one. I post Mondays and Fridays here on this channel in the afternoons Eastern time, and I hope to see you soon. Bye everyone.